Welcome to Talk That Talk. This episode was sponsored by Hypnotic, a brand that's been changing the game since 2001. I'm your host, Tor'i Bionic Brooks. Today we're covering Hoop Histories. All right, now picture this. The NBA is dominated by Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain. It's early. It's about the 60s. And, fast forward to about, 30 years later, it's dominated by MJ, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. We got other players on that team, too, we can name. Go to 2000. We look at the 2000s. Who we have? We had the Spurs. We had Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan. Like, when we look at all of those teams, or when I look at all those teams, I really look at their shooting guard position. I feel like shooting guard back in the day was one of those positions that was very pivotal, and a lot of teams ran their offense through their shooting guard and back in the day, and then also like the big. But when it comes to transcendent shooting guards in the NBA, past and present, who do y'all think of? Who are some of the best shooting guards in the league?
I would say definitely you spoke of Michael Jordan. To me, that's the premier guy. Both ends of the floor is two-way guy. He played offense and defense, and he was a leader as well, too. Going a step further, another person that stuck out to me is Dwayne Wade. Affected both sides of the floor. He was a leader. He led by example, and when he needed to speak, he did so to lead his team. And obviously, I believe he's a three-time champion as well too. So those are the two guys that off the back stick out to me. And let me make sure I get this right. I also have to say Kobe for sure. I didn't mean to leave that one out, but Kobe is the ultimate leader, ultimate winner. Strive for greatness. So those are the three guys for me that stuck out the most.
Absolutely, and it's very difficult to mention MJ and his greatness without mentioning Kobe. You know what I mean? Especially at that position, they both dominated it. They both made it their own. They both elevated it, to the next level. So you definitely got to mention both of those when you're mentioning that position. And then some other guys that stuck out to me, just some guys that hit some big-time shots, that made some big-time plays. A guy like Ray Allen, man, big-time shooter. You think of Ray, you think of some of the biggest shots he's hit and, the pivotal moments he's been able to change with his shot.
No, that's big. I think that's one player that people often forget about is Ray Allen. But like y'all mentioned some great shooting guards. But my question to y'all, next question is, if y'all had to have, what NBA shooting guard would you want to be the cornerstone of your team?
MJ, no question, no hesitation.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, I would. Man, he stole my answer, but I also would have to say Kobe, because I think Kobe was in between what was the past and the present. He was tough. He was aggressive. He was a leader. He didn't really care about trying to be fan favorites, but he naturally became a fan favorite to everybody by the way he played and how he led. So we can even say that he was respected by people in the past, the present, and actually the future as well too.
Agreed.
No, yeah, I think so too. Those are great choices when you think about everything they brought to the game. As a shooting guard, I think I would love to have a player like Kobe Bryant or a player like Michael Jordan to be my franchise cornerstone. And with that being said, who would y'all make y'all franchise cornerstone at the shooting guard position? Build your team around them. Let us know in the comments. But also, when I think about shooting guards in today's NBA, or when I think about shooting guards in today's NBA, one that sticks out to me and it sticks out to probably a lot of people is Anthony Edwards. Mm-hmm. Anthony Edwards has been compared to guys like MJ and Kobe, and he brings that type of tenacity on and off the floor. But we talked a little bit, prior to the pod and prior to going on air, and my only gripe with Anthony is how he played the All-Star game, how he did All-Star weekend, because guys like Kobe and MJ, their approach way different. What do y'all think?
I think it has to do with the culture and the generation in itself. I mean, a lot of people don't take it seriously. I think one thing that came to me was J. Cole says that a lot of people strive to get to the NBA, and then once they get there, that's their mentality has reached its peak, its ceiling. But they have to strive for greatness, and I can see Anthony Edwards striving for greatness. I think that All-Star game was a hiccup for him. Maybe hopefully someone pulls him to the side and says, we can do better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If we want to be great, let's be great in all aspects, and instead of, just, here and there.
Yeah. And I mean, I've never seen that from him on the NBA floor. I get everything from him when it comes to an NBA game, when it came to the Olympics. He definitely put his all into the game, but at the same time, he is a role model for a lot of people watching the game right now. A lot of people are saying he's the next face of the NBA. Is Anthony Edwards the next face of the NBA? That's still left to be said. And it's moments like that where he has to rise above, his generation or his circumstances and be that person pushing the culture forward and making basketball more competitive.
Yeah, correct. That's how you stamp greatness. You know what I mean? That's how you definitely stamp greatness. And I've been speaking a lot of Anthony Edwards lately, and that All-Star performance definitely tarnishes what I've been saying. And, I haven't seen a player that gives me an essence or a feeling of an MJ or a Kobe. Anthony Edwards does that when he's actually playing NBA games. He values both ends of the floor. He values loose balls. He values possessions. He plays the game at that type of a level when he's playing it, seriously.
Yes.
But see, then you tarnish it because guys like Kobe and MJ, every time they're stepping on that box, stepping in that rectangle, it's on. It doesn't matter if it's an all-star game or not. Like, it's on. We're balling out. I'm coming to play. I'm coming to win. I'm not just coming to be here and look cute. So, he kind of ruined it there, but it like you said, it's learning experience. You can bounce back. He definitely is still the greatest, the greatness that he is.
Yeah.
I'll also just add to that, if we do our history as well, too, when Anthony Edwards was drafted #1, he also told a couple people that he didn't really like basketball like that. And that can play a part into why it is what it was at the All-Star game as well, too. He's taking God-given abilities, and obviously he's worked tremendously hard. But I think a lot of it has to do with the mentality and how you approach the game on a day-to-day basis and where you want to go with it as well.
Right. No, that's real talk. I mean, that's a great point that you mentioned. And, those people that grew up loving the culture and loving the game for what it is, they're going to approach and, have that type of mentality every aspect of avenue. And we saw that with some of the late greats, and God rest their souls. But, we miss them, and we're going to need some of the new faces in the NBA to be able to carry that torch and bring it to the next level. We have talks all the time about who's the GOAT. Kobe, LeBron, MJ. I mean, there's a lot of things that go viral on the internet. Who's y'all GOAT? Who's y'all GOAT?
Yeah, me personally, man, my GOAT is MJ. I think he's also the GOAT.
We got producers behind the camera right now looking back. Right. I think they might be a part of Gen Z or something.
Absolutely a part of Gen Z, man. I feel like there's no debate when it comes to, the impact this man has made on the game and the changes and how everybody who plays it strives to get a piece of him and strives to get a piece of what greatness he did leave for the game of basketball.
I would say the same. Michael Jordan is a GOAT, and I think it all kind of focus on the impact he's had on the past, present, and the future. People are still, he hasn't played for 20 plus years, and people are still striving to be him or to be better than him. Yes. And that is a legacy that, it may not even be tarnished. We're not talking about wins and championships. We're just talking about the impact of the game. And I don't want to steal Ty's answer, but I will say there's a couple other guys in terms of my GOAT. A lot of people don't speak on one of them. Well, one of them everybody speaks on is Steph. Steph has changed the game presently at time. Now everybody wants to shoot the three. Everybody wants to pull up. People are shooting 40, 50 threes a game, as a team. You know what I mean? And the other person is Allen Iverson, actually. Yeah. From a fashion and influential standpoint, you got to really think about it. Before him, everybody was told that they had to wear suits the game,
That part.
and they had to dress accordingly. And Allen Iverson was like, "Nah, I got the tattoos and the earrings and everything else, and I'm just going to show up." But he also backed it up when he kept. Those weren't distractions for him. He came to play right away.
He meant business, and that's the thing. Like AI, you are right. He was transcendent. He was an inspirational figure for a lot of people who played the sport of basketball. He definitely inspired us to express ourselves a little bit more. But before him, people were told to wear a certain thing, and because of him, people were told to wear certain things. And it's just now that the NBA has, broadened their horizons a little bit, where players can wear to games or pulling up to, league tunnel fits and stuff like that. That's like. League Fits was AI. AI was the originator in my eyes of, that type of culture and that type of fashion. And I agree with you guys as far as like GOAT when it comes to the sport of basketball. For me, it's Michael Jordan for what he's been able to do for the game, playing both ends, winning so many different things on so many different levels, but it was his impact on the game, his ability to open up spaces for guys like LeBron to be able to have his own signature shoe. LeBron wears 23 for a reason, Let's not get it confused, And the reason why he stopped wearing 23 was because he wanted to pay homage to Jordan and thought that his number should be retired throughout the league. So we cannot diminish his impact on the game and how it's influenced, this generation's GOAT, for, the sport of basketball. But the GOAT of basketball, I think forever unchanged would be Michael Jordan. And a lot of times people argue who was on his team, who did he play with, who did he play against. But one big thing I want to bring into the conversation is coaching. When we think about some of the best coaches in the NBA historically and now, what has been their impact on a lot of these players and their games and their development. So if you had to make a dream team, who would be your dream coach?
I would actually have to go with Phil Jackson. And we can say like, oh, he had these players and they won championships, Lakers and the Bulls and everything else. But if you actually look at Phil Jackson, he taught people beyond basketball. He had people read books. He had people go beyond what they already are. And I love that about him. Me being a coach myself, like, of course we want to win. I mean, we did win a championship.
Yeah, that part.
But of course we want to win. But we also, the lasting effect beyond the championship is to have that effect of, are we trying to get our kids into college? Are we teaching them the right things? Are we guiding them in a way that they can be successful beyond basketball? Because there's not going to be, basketball ends for a lot of kids after high school, probably most of them. Yeah. And the thing is, what do you do next? Some people, if they don't get there, they're like, what's next? And they get frantic and they do things that they're not supposed to do because they didn't have no goals beyond that and no one pushed them beyond that point. So I think Phil Jackson did that with reading and teaching and going beyond basketball. That was a great influence that I watched him do it.
That's a good point. I think that's the solid choice for who would you pick as a coach to coach your dream team. Tom, I'm going to take it to you. What goes into your selection of, picking the best coach for your team?
I'm ultimately going to piggyback off of that for sure because, who better?
Two basketball heads in here.
Who better than the coach that coached the dream team? You know what I mean? So it's just like, and it goes into, the impact beyond basketball. If you're able to individually learn your players, know what makes them tick, know what brings the best out of them, things like that. If you look historically, all the coaches that were able to do things greater than basketball or beyond basketball also have successful resumes because you bring the most out of guys. You get the most out of guys. You have guys who are now pouring everything they have into it because it's like, man, this guy believes in me, or, no one's ever told me this before, or no one's ever cared this much about me before. So you're pulling the greatness out of guys. And so, the best coaches in the world are able to do that. It's not just the X's and O's. It isn't just showing up and having drills and good practice plans. Like, ultimately, it's the intangibles, the same way you tell the players, hey, it's the intangibles. It's the other things that we're not seeing, that are going to make the greatest impacts.
And my bad, I didn't want to cut you off real quick. Good. But I also, there's two other coaches that I want to point out beyond being successful. One of them is John Calipari. Now, the thing is, we can sit here and say, like, oh, he gets everybody into the NBA, but I'm not talking about that. A lot of people don't know that when these kids get scholarships, they can leave 5, 10, 15 years from now and come back and get a degree and it's part of their scholarship, and that's not a lot. That's not at a lot of schools.
I love that. I love that, and I want to dive a little bit more into like some of the college grade coaches. I mean, we definitely gonna dive more into that. Maybe not this episode, but I definitely have. It's March Madness. You know what I mean? It's March Madness, so I definitely would love to pick y'all brain a little bit more because I got two coaching gurus right now in the sport of basketball who've done some amazing things at this panel. If y'all don't know, like, they are really basketball heads, basketball minds. And yeah, big shout out to the college coaches out there doing their thing and being able to help guide people in the next direction. We talk Coach K, we can talk, Tom Izzo, we can
John Thompson.
Yeah, John Thompson, you know what I mean? We can talk a lot of different college coaches. So y'all stay tuned. We got a very special episode coming with that. But these guys touched on one of the most influential NBA coaches of all time. We can name those off. We can name Pat Riley in that mix. Ray Archibald. We can Bill Russell was also a pretty good coach. Some of these coaches in today's day and age, but somebody who's stand the test of time. Greg Popovich, Steve Kerr is somebody.
I like Eric Spoelstra too.
That's who I was going. This is where I was getting to.
Oh, my
but
bad.
If it came down to me selecting my own coach for a dream team, I would pick Spo.
Yeah.
I would pick Eric Spoelstra for today's day and age and today's NBA because what he's been able to do with, an undersized roster or, like
schemes are crazy.
A disadvantaged roster and development of players and undrafted players, in today's day and age, that's what you have to do to be a successful coach. You have to develop your talent, develop your roster, and come up with schemes and different type of things that you have to do to make your team successful offensively, defensively, even if you don't have the biggest star, the biggest name. Like they play a very blue-collar brand of basketball, and that's what I like because Spoelstra is coaching them the right way. They got a bunch of undrafted players who contribute at a high level. They're in the playoffs, year after year. Who changed LeBron James' career? Yeah. Well, who was the coach of that? Of that team, what organization, what culture exists? And culture is a culture that exists because of Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, what I mean? And the players that come in and out of that organization, like you mentioned, with Kentucky, who can come back and add value to the franchise other than Heat players. UD was still there. Alonzo Mourning came back and, like they do a good job of preparing their guys for war day in and day out, and that comes from Spoelstra's background and media or video development when he worked on staff for the Heat. Right now, I mean, I wouldn't say he's the GOAT coaching, but like for where the game is going, in my eyes, and what I would need, and if I have the dream team, I want somebody who's gonna break down film like Spo.
Yeah, consistent,
especially when it comes to the world too, because basketball in the world it gets a little different as we've seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, no, Dom tried to steal my pick for dream coach.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? My bad. He tried to steal it. But like, who is on y'all Mount Rushmore? Who's on your Mount Rushmore of coaches? Like top 5 coaches.
I would say. Are we talking about NBA? Solely?
NBA. We're talking NBA.
Okay.
We're keeping it NBA
no
talk
problem.
right now.
I like Phil Jackson. I like Greg Popovich. I like Eric Spoelstra a lot. It's a tough one. Those 3 for me kind of stick out the most.
Okay.
I actually, if he won a little bit more, I like Tyronn Lue's approach sometimes.
Okay. It can be that too. It can even be like coaches that you kind of resonate with their philosophy a little bit more, like their coaching style a little bit.
Yeah, I think the thing is with those 4, I put longevity into it. Okay. Coaches are probably the most expendable things when it comes to the NBA. Like you can have a crappy team and they'll get fired right. They're the first to go, not the GM, not the players and anything else. Yeah, and the players can mutiny, and then it all falls onto the coach. But Tyronn Lue, whether it's Cleveland, whether it's LA, he's found a way to have jobs and stick to his jobs. The only problem with him is the injuries and everything else that come along with the teams he's had. So I really like him as a coach as well too, along with the ones we've already named.
Yeah. What about you, Ty?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Definitely those 3. As far as, would I put Spoelstra? I have to put Spoelstra from there. So yeah, I would Popovich for sure. I mean, can you put a coach in there without putting him in there? He is who he is.
Steve Kerr.
I want to put him on my Rushmore, but I don't know, man. I like Kerr. I like Kerr a lot as a coach. I definitely like him a lot as a coach. I mean, I would even put Doc Rivers on there. I mean, he's as controversial as he is. He's a sought after coach. He's one of the most sought after coaches.
When you talk about longevity, like I was waiting because I was thinking about saying them, and I wanted to bring that into the conversation. When you talk about longevity, he's been around for a while. Yes. His win percentage is up there. He's been able to take some really good point guards and up their production. Since Doc Rivers has become the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, I have seen a turnaround in Damian Lillard's game and his approach on the game, his ability to be able to take more pride on defensive end. The schemes that they're running on the defensive end is a little bit different too. They're keeping Giannis and Lopez at the rim, protecting the rim a little bit more. And then on top of that, Damian Lillard is getting more assists.
Yes, sir.
So it's like, come on now, they are playing competitive basketball right now with Giannis in and out the lineup.
I agree with you.
I
would say to a certain degree though, we can't ignore the dynamic of. I thought actually Adrian Griffin did a really good job. The problem is what I said earlier. When a team mutinies and starts to go against what the coach says, then they're not going to play defense.
But his schemes were taking Giannis and Brook away from the rim and switching on the perimeter. Like, why would you do that with that type of lineup?
But they also knew how to play defense before he was even signed as the coach there. So yes. You can just tell by like body language and everything, the variables of the game can affect the way a coach looks as well too.
No, I agree. And my only gripe with the whole situation, I don't think he deserved to lose his job so quickly. But there was a lot going on behind the scenes. Him blowing up in front of his coaching staff or in front of his team, blowing up against Terry Stotts. Early in the season, who was also Damian Lillard's coach over in Portland. I think that could have potentially affected him and Damian Lillard's relationship. And like you said, created that mutiny and created it to where you don't want to buy into the schemes and stuff like that. There's a lot going on, and Damian Lillard's play at the first half of the season, no excuse, but he's a human being. You know what I mean? He's going through a divorce. Right. He moved from Portland where he knew his whole life and his whole career, and now he's in Milwaukee. So it's an adjustment period too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think the reason why I won't say Doc yet is because Doc has always been had a really good win percentage in the regular season. It's when it gets to the end, these game sevens, that he starts to falter at. And that falls onto you. When you get all the way to the end like that and you can't close the deal, that doesn't fall on the player, that falls on the coach.
I agree 100%. That's a coaching thing. I wanted to bring Doc Rivers into the conversation. He wouldn't be on my Mount Rushmore for those reasons, because he's always been in good situations.
Right.
His win percentage is high because he's been in really good situations. He was lurking on the Milwaukee situation because he was an advisor for the Milwaukee Bucks and their coaching staff before he got the job. So he was definitely very aware of what the situation was like before he headed into that coaching job. So I have a lot of respect for him, but he has been around for a long time. Also want to bring up Don Nelson, a coach back in the day who definitely changed the pace of the game. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? He was a person that definitely inspired how the game is played nowadays. In my opinion, Jerry Sloan. Also, he was an all-time winning coach at one point.
At Utah. At Utah.
Come on now. That says a lot, right?
Definitely. I had to leave it at that. At Utah. Where nobody wants to stay, but that's a different story.
Come on now. I definitely think that, coaches have a huge impact in a player's development. Would Kobe, would MJ be the same player without Phil Jackson? Would Stephen Curry be the same player without Steve Kerr? I mean, shout out to Mark Jackson. He did a great job. Absolutely. But we have to talk about the coach's impact on players. Spo on LeBron. You know what I mean? Like, why was Spo's and D-Wade's relationship so good? You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, Pat Riley had an influence on that culture. And so, like, that's why I personally, in my Mount Rushmore, I'll put Spo. I wouldn't put Spo in that spot. Right now, I'll put Pat Riley. But if Spo can do some more things in his career, definitely, I think he can take over that spot.
Absolutely.
But my question, I'm sorry I went on a tangent, but would Kobe be Kobe without Phil Jackson? Well, would Kobe and Michael Jordan be the players that they are without Phil Jackson?
I'd say yes and no. I think that they had a mentality already to be great. I think that Phil Jackson cultivated that mentality because they saw that in them. I mean, if that's the case, then everybody that was on the Chicago Bulls or the LA Lakers would be similar to Kobe. Kobe already had that mentality. And Jordan already had those mentalities. Maybe they felt slighted. Maybe they felt that they should have been starting or drafted higher, whatever the case may be. But along the way, it was like Phil Jackson saw something in them. And let me pour a little bit more into this person because they want it. Like they see greatness. Everybody wants. There's a difference between people wanting to be in the NBA and people wanting to be great. And he saw that they wanted to be great.
I think Phil was the catalyst. He was definitely the catalyst. I think like the greatness was already there, and it takes another great, legendary coach like Phil to be a catalyst to unlock.
Okay, Ty, but the question still is the same. Would Kobe or Michael Jordan be the same players without Phil Jackson? I need that answer.
I guess I answered the question. It would be no. I guess the answer would be no because it would take someone like Phil to be the catalyst to that. I think playing under any other coach, they still are great, right? You know, they're just. I think they become like the other great people we talk about. They just become another, great, inspiring NBA personnel.
No,
kind of circle back around. You would think how great Anthony Edwards could be with a coach like Phil Jackson.
That's a
maybe he plays a little bit better in the All-Star game.
No, that's a good point. That's a really good point. So yeah, I mean, like y'all touched on a little bit, like some coaches take on the responsibility of being a good coach. Some coaches do not. They deny that responsibility to be a good coach and develop players. Like, as a coach yourselves, like what do y'all think about taking on the responsibility of being a coach, developing good players? And I think Mike Tomlin said it. He said, "I love to hear coaches resist the responsibility of coaching." So when talking about developing players, what's your thoughts on that as a coach yourself? Do you agree or disagree?
You said resist coaching and training?
No, resist the responsibility of coaching. Like, is it your responsibility to coach and develop players?
Yes, it is. In its entirety, no. That's why we have trainers. That's why there's trainers there. That's why it is a profession, for guys to specifically focus on an area. But I think as a coach, yes, I think it is your job to help develop players. There's the mental aspect of developing them. It's not necessarily the shot or their physical attributes, but yes, you are developing their game, their IQ. Their knowledge of everything, the schemes, the way they work, how I can take advantage of certain situations with my stature or my skill set. So, absolutely.
I think you are supposed to, and you have to approach it different ways. It's no longer coaching in terms of just strategies and X's and O's and developing certain things. You have to be that trainer too. Yeah. You have to understand or identify what they lack at and what you can do to advance those things as well, too. So you actually have to be well-versed into developing and training yourself in order to see those things. You have to look at the game a certain way and say, how can I get the most out of this player? I think also coaching comes with the mentality of being selfless. Like we might be we might be the head coach of something, but at the end of the day, it's about them. And once we start to take ourselves out the equation, we can get the most out of our players rather than trying to worry about our stats or our win-loss records or how many championships we have. That the focus comes on them, and you'll get the maximum. And they feel it too. It's not like back in the day. I don't know. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but when I was growing up, we just did what we were told. I mean, we didn't know too much. Now these kids know everything because everything is on the internet. So if you tell them to do something, They may do it, but then they might go back and say, let me go check this and see if this is actually valid or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to be well-versed in certain aspects of developing your players and training your players so that way you can get the most out of them. They'll also believe in you as well, too, if you're developing them and training them consistently.
No, that's facts. And that's you preaching right now. You're preaching right now. Like, he dropping them gems. Like, y'all need to check out Coach Dom, man. He's full of them. Coach Ty as well. And y'all touched on it a lot. Like, these players do not become who they are without proper coaching or systems in place to be able to help them flourish and be the best player that they can be. Mm-hmm. Y'all hit the nail on the head. Like, Anthony Edwards, Kobe, MJ, whatever, like, they're great, but that coach definitely nurtured and tailored, his schemes and his roster or his lineups to that player's strengths in mental and on the court, you know what I mean? And that's what a coach's job is to do to help them be successful all the way down the line. And you have to have a training plan. You have to have a practice plan. You have to have a game plan. You have to know when your players are supposed to peak and when they're, supposed to get some rest. You have to be able to be in touch with your players emotionally and mentally and know, hey, like, I might need to get this guy the day off because he needs to play big on Friday, and that's the only way he's going to do well. I seen Shaq in his interviews talk about how sometimes Phil will give him that opportunity to be able to take a night off because he's going to need 20 and 20 from him because they playing Tim Duncan and David Robinson on Friday. You know what I'm saying? Right. We heard about the stories of Dennis Rodman, getting to go to Vegas and, kicking it, while his team was working and, MJ and them flying out just to bring him back, So it's things like that coaches have a big responsibility from the lower level, responsibility at high level in a high school place, and then also in higher ed, in college and then in the NBA. So, like, coaches have a really tough job, and I think that y'all should get y'all flowers because y'all do a lot to help shape, the next generation of basketball players and help them be the best basketball players they can be. And also, we need to bring that type of energy to the AAU space, but that's a whole different conversation.
Nah, definitely. The other thing I add real quick is I think coaching is also about making adjustments. I've always preached that. Because you can have a game plan planned out, practice plan, everything else. Someone can get hurt. Someone doesn't show up. It doesn't go the way you see something that doesn't go right the way that you want it. And then you have to be able to make the adjustments and sometimes on the fly in order to keep your guys locked in and focused. Because if you're not well-versed, if you don't have a second and third option or alternative option, you could lose your team because they won't believe in you as much.
Facts. Man, all right, we're going to move on. I got one more segment, but just give me one moment. When we talk about a strengthening combo or strengthening your team, we all know about the Hypnotic and Cognac combo and how great of a team that was, but we need to step it up a little bit. It's a new day and age. We got some new players. Now we got Hypnotic and Tequila. Añejo tequila mixed with Hypnotic, perfect combination. And although we know about the combination of Hypnotic and Cognac, the combination of Hypnotic and Añejo is to die for. Hypno and Añejo is a combination that can't be beat, mixing the bold flavor of tequila with the delicious, crispy taste of Hypnotic. Picture this. It's 2000. You're at the Sydney Olympics, and you see Team USA going against France. You see a guy from the USA clearly jump over one of France's players and finishes probably one of the toughest dunks in basketball history. It also goes down as the dunk of death. So when we think about viral moments in sports and the best dunks in sports, what are some of the best dunks that y'all seen?
Geesh, the one that sticks out. I mean, as we're talking, I'm sure I could think of other ones that would be in my top three. But one that sticks out to me is one of the nastiest dunks ever. DeAndre Jordan over Brandon Jennings. That was absolutely
Brandon Knight?
Or Brandon Knight. My bad.
So wait,
Brandon Knight.
What was it again, the dunk?
He came down the middle.
No, I need you to run it back from the top. What was the dunk that stuck out to you?
Oh, my bad. The one that stuck out to me the most would be the DeAndre Jordan over Brandon Knight. Straight down the middle, you know what I mean? Line him up. If it was up to me, that would be the dunk of death. Put him in a coffin for sure.
What about you, Don?
I think for me, I might have to go back a little bit on this one. I don't remember the defender. I want to say it's like a Greg Ostertag type of, but Baron Davis, when he played for the Golden State Warriors, he climbed the ladder on this 7 foot.
Mehmet Okur?
I believe so, and he climbed the ladder and like banged
Or
it
was
on.
it was it Andre Karolinko?
It
I think it
was-
was AK-47.
It might have
One of
been.
those two.
It was
Yeah.
pretty tall though, but he climbed at 6'2". He climbed the ladder and that whole arena erupted. I felt that, and that got me hype, especially the height differential in that one too. For him to climb the ladder and then punch it like that was amazing.
Oh, wow. We had some crazy dunks going on in the NBA recently. Anthony Edwards had probably the dunk of the year. But right now, I'm looking at the Jalen Johnson dunk over Austin Reeves. And he got it at half court and just towered over Austin Reeves, put his undescribable all over his face, and definitely got the and one. It's a blocking foul. It reminded me almost of Vince Carter's dunk. He really cleared over a whole person. Oh my. No, that's nasty. I hate it had to be Austin Reeves because he doesn't deserve that. But oh my goodness, Jalen Johnson absolutely destroyed Austin Reeves. They gave us so many different angles of this dunk. Oh my gosh, DeJounte Murray with the steal, two dribbles past half court on his head. Yo, that's insane to pull off in a game. Like, what, bro? Like, what? Hold on, let me turn this to so y'all can see it, man. Cause look at this. This is crazy. This is in the first 30 seconds of the game.
It's
This
the
is the first 2
that's the
points.
first basket of the game.
This is
Yeah,
the
I was
first
just about to say, what's the
basket
first
of the game. And DeJounte Murray gets the ball to Jalen Johnson, and Jalen Johnson just hits the jump man pose over Austin Reeves and ended his life.
Don't stand there and take that charge.
Like,
man.
yeah, like, what do y'all think about that? He was hyped. They got the handshake down.
He has to be subbed out.
Yeah,
Just
no.
he needs to be
It's,
subbed.
it's Venice Beach, bro. You got to take a seat for 2 minutes.
Oh, my goodness. He got to take a seat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so-
Wow.
Yeah. that
Wow,
was so
bro.
disrespectful.
This reminds me of Bionic Battlegrounds when I jumped over the ball rack.
Yeah.
And also at NBA All-Star jumping over T-Jazz. Like, no, this was insane. Like, I got to watch this one more time. Hold up. Let's see. They get to steal DeJounte Murray with the pass to Jalen Johnson. 2 dribbles past half court. Ooh, on his head.
Are y'all taking that charge?
Oh, my God.
Y'all see my fans coming with a full head of steam. Is you taking that charge?
I'm out the way, and it's at home too. I have to move.
I
Bro.
can't take the charge. Like, I don't think that I completely move out the way. I like jump to the side and try to like swipe at the ball.
Yeah.
But I don't take a charge because, man, oh
Let me
my
see if
God.
this changes your answer.
Jalen, he has a family.
As a coach, do you want that player to take a charge?
I tell my players to foul him. Foul
So
him.
as a coach, you would tell
Yeah.
your players to foul a
I'm
guy
taking a
like
foul.
Jalen Johnson driving down the lane. Oh my gosh, full speed. You're like, don't
gotta
take the
earn
charge. He got to earn the 2
gotta
from the
earn
line.
nothing flagrant, but take the foul.
I'm reaching.
No, like,
I'm
yeah.
reaching. Yeah, I'm going for the ball.
Yeah.
I'm swatting. Yeah, I'm grabbing an arm. Yeah.
Nah, this is crazy. When I saw this dunk, I felt like it didn't get the love it deserved because Anthony Edwards was actually
Oh, yeah,
dunking on John Collins simultaneously
Same time,
when
yeah.
this happened. So, like, this dunk by Jalen Johnson, I feel like needs to get some more love. So, big shout out to Jalen Johnson for taking off and completely demoralizing the defense. That was tough. First 2 points of the game. It was in the first 17 seconds of the game.
They got a steal, and that was the first bucket of the game.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Oh, dog. Oh man, I'm losing it over that. But like, man, you just imagine a scene like somebody soaring in the air and dunking over you has to be probably the worst feeling in basketball. But I'm gonna ask one more question real quick. If it became between getting dunked on or getting your ankles crossed, which one would you prefer, or which one is worse?
I'm gonna take the crossover because the crossover don't become relevant if he don't make the shot. If he makes the dunk, then I look bad. Even people are gonna go ooh and ah even if he misses the dunk. If I get crossover, they go ooh, but then if he misses the shot, we're like, oh okay, whatever.
So would you say what's worse?
I'm taking the crossover.
The crossover is worse, or getting dunked on is worse?
Oh, getting dunked on is worse. So
Okay.
I'd rather get crossed over. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay, bet. What about you?
Super valid point. I would totally answer that question different until you've made the points you made. That is a super valid point. Getting crossed over is a 2-part thing. You know what I mean? You get broke, okay, cool. But if you don't make the shot, it's forgotten. You're like, yeah, he dropped you, but does it really matter? You get dunked on, or a guy attempts a dunk on you, or you're about to get put on a poster, whether he makes or misses it, we're not going to forget that poster.
Right.
We're not forgetting.
There's no crossover posters. There's plenty of dunk posters.
There's plenty of dunk posters. When you look at all the guys in the NBA who've taken off and, missed the dunk, John Morant being one of them specifically, Anthony Edwards, another. Like, you were like, he almost destroyed Anthony Davis the other night. He almost destroyed this guy. And so, like, for me, when it personally comes down to would I rather get crossed up or dunked on, I would rather get crossed up. And I think getting dunked on is worse. The reason why I think that getting dunked on is worse than getting crossed up is because you made a personal choice. If you are getting dunked on, you made the decision. I'm going to stand in his way or I'm going to jump with this guy.
Right.
If you're getting crossed over, you might get a hit with a screen. You might have thought dude was going in a different direction. A lot of days now in today's day, you get pushed off. Like
playing hard defense.
It's a lot. Like you trying and like involuntarily your ankle gave out. Or you misstepped or your shoe wasn't tied hard enough.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, right. That's random. Yeah. But with getting dunked on, you made a choice. Yeah. You made a choice.
That's a conscious choice.
That's a conscious
100%.
decision. You know what I mean? You jump with bro. Like
100%.
And don't let it be an and one. When y'all think about like big threes in the league and NBA, I touched on it a little bit earlier in our podcast and our conversation. When we think about traditional big threes, we can go the new age. We can go Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, KG. We can go D-Wade, LeBron, Chris Bosh. We could go Shaq, Kobe. Who was their third?
Fisher.
Derek Fisher, D Fish. We can look at Shaq, Kobe, D Fish. We can look at Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan. We can look at Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, if we want to take it that far. Right. We got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. We have Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. All right. It's so many more you can name. Y'all got any that y'all want to throw out there? Any that you want to say? Producers, we got any other groups or lineups we want to say?
I think we talking about from an offensive standpoint. I thought the Steph, Klay, and KD was ridiculous.
Okay, that's a good one.
That shit is scary.
That's a good one. We can't forget about, historically speaking, MJ, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen.
Man, you rattled out all the ones that I could think of.
Okay, producers, we got anybody?
KG, Rondo, Paul Pierce. Would y'all count?
Yeah, we could, but I touched on the
Celtics.
Celtics. We got Rondo, KG, and Paul Pierce. I'm really thinking like ones with like formidable shooting guards in it. That's what I'm really thinking.
What about KD Book and Bradley Beal? Y'all call them big?
Let's talk about people who've done something, Kevin. I sent you some. Like, read some of them off.
Hey man, that's coming from a LeBron supporter, man.
Yeah, you see how they talk.
You said it, though, which is funny. You said all the ones you said.
Oh, okay, I said. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I said you touched most of them.
I touched on it. My knowledge on point.
I give you one. This is a throwback for sure.
Okay.
Dallas Mavericks, Steve Nash, Michael Finley, and Dirk Nowitzki.
Okay.
That was actually a really good.
That was tough.
Did you do Stoudemire, Nash, and
Joe Johnson?
Or
Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire,
Either.
and Steve Nash. Yeah, I can definitely see all those. But my thing is, right, the reason why I'm talking about shooting guards and thinking about big threes in the league, the best big threes, in my opinion, they include a great shooting guard, right? So when we look at all the shooting guards in the league, if you throw Kobe Bryant on that Celtics team with Ray Allen or KG and Paul Pierce instead of Ray Allen, are they the same team? You throw D-Wade on that team, D-Fish and Shaq, and you throw D-Wade as a shooting guard, are they the same team? What shooting guard makes the best lineup? If you throw Kobe with those Bulls, are they the same Bulls?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the question. What shooting guard completes the lineup the best?
Wow, that's a great question.
That is.
You know what? I would actually have to say D-Wade, in my opinion. We named Michael Jordan and Kobe. I think they were both ball-dominant guards. I felt D Wade could play off of the basketball and still be a factor defensively, offensively, knock down some shots here and there, and lead, assist. You know, I mean, he played great defense as well too.
Yeah.
He didn't have to have the ball in his hand or shoot the ball 20, 30 times to be effective.
I love that. That's a great take. A lot of people don't think about D Wade. D Wade was probably the best shot blocking guard ever. For me, that's the person I watched because I wanted to be a good shot blocker at my size. And D Wade's timing was impeccable. The spin move with the dunk, bro. D Wade was iconic for that. The fades, the slashing, like his run in the finals with Shaq, bro, went to another level. Ty, who do you think as a shooting guard who completes the lineup? What shooting guard completes the lineup?
Yeah, D Wade is definitely formidable for sure, man. That he checks a lot of boxes. He definitely does. But for me, man, I feel like Mike's that universal piece. I feel like it doesn't matter where he went or what he does or what team he's playing for. Like, yes, he is ball dominant, but that comes with good reason. The same with Kobe and the Mamba mentality. It's like, well, I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning in the gym shooting the shots. Should I give it to you or should I take it? And so it's like, and he was still a good team player. And I think, I think in some of those lineups, he struggles a bit more than the one he had. But I still think he's a universal, shooting guard.
Yeah, okay. So we got MJ, we got D Wade, two shooting guards that can complete any lineup. I think that those are both great takes. I don't think anybody is wrong in that case. But like when I really think about it, historically speaking, if I'm going to take anybody, it's probably going to be MJ. MVPs, Defensive Player of the Years, proven winner, born winner at a lot of different levels, and that's just what I'm looking at. Just from the eye test, I'm sure it's more that goes into that. But when you break it down and feel like MJ on any team, like that team is a factor. I feel like D Wade on any team, they might struggle. They might struggle a little bit with just D Wade. You know what I mean? Like if those other two stars are out and it's just D Wade, I never seen D Wade just carry a team by himself like that.
I mean, I would say that D Wade is the reason why the Miami beat Dallas the second time.
I don't take nothing away from that either. But again, he did that in addition to what LeBron being on the floor with them. You know what I mean? Like it's a different type of feel.
I guess I looked at it the way I looked at it when the way the question was worded. If we put it on a different team. My thing is Michael Jordan had to be ball dominant. And I'm not taking nothing away because Michael's my GOAT.
Yeah.
But he had to be ball dominant. So if we said we move him to a big three, will he have the chemistry to allow other people to be successful as well too?
No, that's facts.
You know what I mean? And that's because he was that aggressive enough. He's not going he can't go to a team with like Charles Barkley or Shaq and Kobe and say, I'm still taking 20, 30 shots because that's not going to happen.
And I don't think he would. I think that's where he differs from Kobe. I think, you know what I mean? I think he's a little bit more of a willing, I'm going to bring my team in on this, whereas Kobe wasn't so willing. He would. Obviously, he was a great team player, but, he's not so quick to swing it or to give up those shots when he knows, more confidently, I'm believing in myself.
Nah.
I never really seen as great as Michael is. The one knock on Michael would be that is he really a team leader?
Okay,
is he a real? Because a team leader will be able to adjust in any environment and say like, I'm good. I'll take 15 shots and you guys take 20 or 30 shots. I would never see Michael that way.
I feel like that's what it was with MJ though early in his career. You know what I mean? Like MJ wasn't just taking every shot. I mean, he was still finding his way, getting teammates involved and paying homage to the people that came before him. And that's also a role that he had to play under Dean Smith at UNC. You know what I mean? He had to, figure out how to play and not get all the shine or the shots and stuff like that. I've seen that from him. From Kobe, I see him just straight to league. I mean, maybe with the Lakers early on in his career, he didn't necessarily have that same type of I'm gonna shoot every shot, every 3-point shot, shoot all these fadeaways and stuff like that. But as Kobe got older, it was like we're living and dying by me.
I understand. I mean, but if we go back to North Carolina, let's not forget that he had James Worthy and Sam Perkins, who were really great NBA players on that team. So he and an old coach, Dean Smith, that put those guys in front of Michael Jordan. initially. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's just the dynamic of what the team was as well too.
I feel that, but like that's why I say that, because like what player, especially in today's day and age, I mean, maybe it's different back in the day and we just kind of suck it up and just stick in the position that we are. Other players now are like trying to look at the transfer portal.
Right.
Who's gonna play them more in the NIL? Like,
Absolutely.
If they're MJ, you know,
Run a couple suicides and we're gonna hit the transfer portal now.
That part with the quickness.
Oh man, we talk about NBA players right now, and we talk about so many greats. One thing that really comes up next is like we had a conversation. I also saw it on First Take as well. But are there many players in the NBA right now that are better than LeBron James? How many players in the NBA are better than LeBron James? Who are 5 players that y'all think are better than LeBron at this moment?
Are we talking about like currently or in the career?
We're talking currently. We're not talking career. We're talking players currently playing based on current stats, based off of where you're at.
Okay.
Like
Thanks
we're
for
talking
clarifying.
currently better than LeBron James. Are there 5 players in the NBA better than LeBron James?
Statistically, we already know the argument. It's not going to happen, right? But when you ask me if a player is better than another player, it's a lot that goes into that answer for me. It's not just statistics. It's not just paper. It's not just accomplishments or accolades. It's how you play the game, your mentality with the game, your impact on the game. Those things become a huge factor in, if a player is better than another player.
All right. Are there 5 players better than LeBron James at this moment? I'm asking you a question.
I got 5.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
I got you.
No, wait. You hold on to your
Oh, my
5 because
bad.
you got them. Are there 5 players better than LeBron James right now?
For me, I could probably name like
struggling.
10. Nah, I'm not struggling. I can name like 10.
All right. Well, I want to hear them.
Jason Tatum, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards. Man, give me some more. Better than LeBron, man.
He having a tough time.
I'm not. I'm just thinking
Yeah,
about
but
if I really want to name him over LeBron, and
Exactly.
I'll have to argue him.
Exactly.
Anthony Davis is better than LeBron for me, man.
Okay.
Anthony Davis, that's 5.
Okay, you keep going. Those are the 5 you want to go with because you're going to be on the gram talking about these 5 players are better than LeBron.
I am.
Okay.
Man, somebody argue, bro, my man's walking off the floor with 3 minutes left.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take it to you, Dom.
I
Are
got
there
it.
5 players better than LeBron, and who are those players?
I do believe there's 5 people. Number one, and not in order, but I like Anthony Edwards. I love the fact that unfortunately, Cat's out, and Rudy has been in and out, and he still keeps this team relevant, very much so, and at a high level. And they know where the ball is going from, and he's still, producing at a high level and carrying his team. I love the way Shai Gilgeous is playing right now.
SGA.
There isn't in my opinion, there's no Robin on that team, like a solidified Robin that is consistent.
Hey, I want to give a big shout out to my guy, Jalen Williams. Shout out to my guy, Dub. I think he a clear number 2, but go ahead.
My bad. I'm just saying in terms of that, they don't have that Michael Scotty type of thing. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
He
but
on his way.
Shea has kept them at that high level. We cannot. That's my number 2. Nikolai Jokic he's playing tremendously.
How you miss him, Todd?
You're right.
They're not winning those many games and competing like that if they don't.
Yes.
Luka is playing out of his mind with a ball dominant guard on his team as well too, and still putting up undeniable stats.
Shout out J Kidd for figuring that out.
Yeah. And if he wasn't hurt, I would say Joel Embiid has been tremendous in terms of carrying that team, getting rid of all those people, and they still played at a high level. And you can see they were top 3 before he got hurt. Now they're at 7 and 8. They're barely in the playoffs. So those are my 5.
Okay. I think that is a very good 5 right there. I mean, we do, we got a LeBron lover on the production staff, and I'm not sure how he's gonna feel about those answers. But with that being said, okay, so he said he respects Dom's. He respects Dom's answers.
Who?
But Ty's answers.
Who?
He said
Who on
Ty's
the list
answers
ain't
were-
respectable?
I don't know if I would give it to Jason yet.
No?
Not yet.
He's got to do
Nah,
more.
yeah, I wouldn't
He's
give it to
gotta do
Jason
more.
Tatum either.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason
Right,
Tatum
it's-
he's been playing the second fiddle to Jaylen Brown, and
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Jalen out here earning that 300.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
We'll-
that's
we'll
what I
see.
don't get with them. But like I definitely got a lot of respect for Jason Tatum. But like again, his team, who he's playing with, the market he's in, the coaching staff that he has, I don't think that he's necessarily playing better than LeBron right now.
Gotcha.
Again, I didn't name my 5. We're gonna keep that out of it.
Ah.
Y'all said
gonna
a lot
keep
of
it out.
a lot of good players. I don't feel a need to rehash over a lot of the players that y'all mentioned, but those are the facts. But that segues into the next part, the final question I have for y'all. Who can y'all see taking over the face of the NBA once guys like LeBron, Steph, and KD are out of the league?
Multiple people or just one?
It's an open discussion. It's an open discussion, really.
I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
I love the fact that even at the mentality not being at a full capacity in terms of the dedication to take everything seriously, to play at that level, and you're still not, at your ceiling yet, is tremendous. I think once he starts he needs to be around someone who can develop that mentality that not only that he's a dog, but by any means necessary that every time I touch the basketball, it means something.
Yeah.
And I think he can reach that level. I think he's only like 21, 22 right now, which is as we know as men, we're still mentally developing as well too.
Yes.
So once he reaches a certain point, I think the world is his.
I feel you, Ty. Who?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as the face of the NBA, guys that are making that type of impact, I think it's only a couple. And Anthony Edwards would stand out at the top of that list for sure in terms of, the greatest impact on the list. But you're hearing names that are rattled off all the time when you're talking NBA. You automatically start hearing names. And obviously, as the Currys get fiddled out, you have names now like the Trae Youngs that pop up. You have names like, my bad.
The face of the NBA.
You said what?
You saying as the face of the NBA?
I'm just saying. Well, yeah, honestly, because those are the names that are starting to get mentioned in terms of when you say NBA or think about even 2K. Where are the kids going? What are the first teams that they're looking to pull up? And they're going after guys like Trae Young. Now, whether or not he's again, Anthony Edwards would be at the top of that list because of the impact he has on the league. But when we're talking about faces of the NBA, you know what I mean? What are your caveats for faces of the NBA? Is it the most relevant or most relevant people, or is it, you know what I mean, the biggest impact on the game stat wise?
I mean, we looked at, the examples that were given were guys that won, guys that were MVPs.
Yeah.
It wasn't guys that just people were a fan of. It wasn't, how high powered their offensive skill set was. It was faces of the league.
Yeah.
And so when I think of the faces of the league, I'm thinking, like you guys, Anthony Edwards, one of those people at the top of the list. I'm also throwing Jason Tatum in that conversation because I feel like he doesn't get the love that he deserves on that spectrum because he is right there. Mm-hmm. Because he hasn't won, I feel like people diminish what his accomplishments are, but he has been there. Anthony Edwards hasn't. Mm-hmm. Not many other people in the league can say they did it. He did it as a rookie going into the Eastern Conference Finals against a prime LeBron James and didn't back down.
Yeah, the mentality of those players.
This guy has been around and he's ready, but he has to prove it to be able to take that next step because he is a little bit older than Anthony Edwards. So I feel like that's why Anthony Edwards is getting that talk and is getting a little bit more leeway. But, in addition to those two, I don't even think it's early, but Victor Wembanyama is literally the next face of the NBA. If you look at it from a global perspective, Giannis, Nikola Jokic have taken over the league. Giannis took over the league. He had a whole country behind him. That changed how people were watching NBA games. That changed the market of Milwaukee. Same thing with Jokic in Denver. I feel like Victor Wembanyama is that because every night you're going in and he's going to play on both ends. He's going to block shots. He's going to get steals. He's going to score at a very high level, putting the ball on the floor, behind the back, dunking, shooting, all of it. And, like people want to go see that. Like you're saying, Ty, the fanfare, the people, who do you want to watch? LeBron James was like that coming out of high school. Like Zion Williamson had that same type of appeal. And if he can pull it together and, stay on the court and, produce, he'll be in that conversation as well. But yeah, I really think Victor Wembanyama, and also looking at it from a global NBA perspective, I've seen Adam Silver sitting with Wembanyama, doing press runs, having conversations in front of a global audience, and already positioning him to be one of the faces of the league.
I agree with you. Just to add to it, I know I pick Ant, but I'm going to look at it from a different perspective real quick. I could actually say Luka. And and I'm not talking about statistically. Let me tell you this. The thing is, Luka allows people that are growing up to believe that they can still play basketball at a high level. Now, the thing is, Anthony Edwards is tall. He's very athletic. He's very quick and everything else. Everybody isn't going to be athletic.
They're not going to be able to relate.
Victor Wembanyama is a great talent. Everybody isn't going to be 7 foot with the whatever wingspan he has. But Luka is at a size, and he's basically showing you, I don't have to be fast. I'm not going to jump and dunk over everybody. But if you put in the skill work over time, you can put in the same productivity no matter what. Get to your second move, get to your third move, anticipation and everything else. He actually, to me, defines what you have to do to work on your game consistently rather than, focus on your height or your physical attributes as well.
No, I agree. And I think that that's important too. My only knock with Luka is he doesn't take pride on both sides of the ball.
Agreed.
And, sometimes he's crying for calls and he's a little bit more out of the game, or he checks out. But offensively, like he's amazing. He definitely is a cornerstone. But yeah, personally, I want to see him take a little bit more pride on the defensive end. That's why I wouldn't, I love him to death. I think he's one of those faces, but that's what keeps me from saying his name, because Anthony Edwards, we got one night he's on the offensive end dunking on somebody. We got the other night he's getting a game-winning block. You know what I mean? And that's ultimately how I see it.
And I agree. I think that's the mentality, but it also attests to his physical attributes as well too. Mm-hmm. I think even look at Jokic and how slow and methodical he plays. But there's somebody out there that's going to say, okay, well, I don't have to have a 3-cone drill at a high level or something like that, or I don't have to have a vertical jump to play at a high level.
But that's why I would give Jokic it over Luka, because I feel like Jokic does take pride in the defense end. Yeah, he might not be the most skilled, his attributes, but he gonna get with you. Yeah. He gonna push you around. He gonna be smacking people. He gonna be blocking shots. He gonna be tapping the ball, getting rebounds. Like, he's gonna give that effort, although he isn't the most physically gifted.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And like you were mentioning, like, you work on your skill long enough, you got your go-to moves, your hook shots, or whatever works for you. He's showing people that you can play the game at a high level and not be super athletic.
Absolutely.
All right. I mean, that's all I have for you guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in. This is Talk Your Talk. I'm your host, Tor'i Bionic Brooks, with my guests, and we'll see y'all next time.